Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Madam DJ, for that wonderful, wonderful jam that has really rejuvenated us. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for creating time to be here tonight so that we can be able to know what are these skills that we need that are not really HR that will increase our brand level. Last, I think on Friday, we had something called up-leveling your career. How do you elevate? How do you upgrade? What are these extra skills that are not really HR that you need to have? Thank you so much for creating time. Tonight, we have a wonderful, wonderful speaker, our very own moderator of choice, Grace Nzula. We have our sign language interpreter, Catherine Sidandi. She does an amazing job. If you have an event and you want to totally and practically embrace diversity and inclusion, especially those people who have got only to understand certain things by sign language. I was trained on how to say my name in sign language. I have not forgotten. I'll show it. Thank you very much. So before we get into our discussion, I will completely give some compliments to our sponsors, the people who make this particular Tuesday conversation of getting it right so that we don't miss having this particular conversation. We have Nilefront. Nilefront is in Uganda. Some people are very adventurous. The other day I was in a very cool place and I passed. I didn't know that is where it is. Well, I am saying that if you want to enjoy the sceneries of Uganda where the Nile starts, go to Nilefront. It has very nice cottages, very beautiful, very welcome, very therapeutic. Please go. Then there is Elsewhere, which is in Naivasha. If you love life and you're creating a lot of money, you have got to reward ourselves. You have got to reward yourself. Go to Elsewhere and enjoy. Then when you go to the cleanest country that I've gone to, that is Kigali, we have double KHR services. If you want to do some consultancy in Rwanda, double K HR services are the people to talk to in Rwanda. They are well spread. They will show you around. Please do that. Then when you are doing your talent acquisition or talent management, we have our own Profiles International. They do psychometric tests. They do so many things that are related to analyzing what really makes a good employee. Profiles International are the people to talk to. And also they train emotional intelligence. Please, please, please make sure that you consult Profiles International. Then we have Steadfast Quality Solutions, where we have our good friend, Zake Kampala. I'll be visiting. I am sure you are here. If you want your strong competencies to come out, Herbert Zake is the person to talk to so that you understand what are good in. Remember, we are hired because of the skills we have, and nobody does it better than Herbert Zake of Steadfast Quality Solutions. I hope, my brother, you're here. Then we have AAR Insurance for your insurance needs. Then we have Labor Planet. Labor Planet, they are an outsourcing firm. If you want people to do your work and you want an organization that will do your labor outsourcing, Labor Planet are the people to talk to. Good Lord, if you love cashew nuts, if you love nuts generally, Kapla Mintito are the people to talk to. They provide fresh cashew nuts if you want to chew. We have been, in fact, research has shown that people who chew nuts live longer. Please, Kapla Mintito are the people to talk to. Then we have Panessa Training Institute. If you want your son, your daughter use you probably your partner to learn on how to deal with good work and other things that we use in the houses. Panessa Training Institute are the people to talk to. They produce quality products. Then we have WeClean. They clean sofa sets, they clean mats, they clean generally our household stuff. And they have machines that dry those sofa sets, those mats very quickly. WeClean, just look for them. They deliver once they have cleaned. Then when you go to Mombasa, for those people who are planning to go to Mombasa like me for the whole of December, please take your coffee out at Hotel Sapphire. And of course, I have heard this from the moderator of choice that they have amazing. What is what they use? Transfer, hotel transfer. If you want nice hotel transfer, they have a vehicle that looks like an aeroplane. Please take your tea, book your accommodation, have your meal at Hotel Sapphire. Then lastly, if you are minded in terms of saving, if you want to save beyond the circle that you are in, you have got to think of Ports Circle. Then we have Richard, who is a trainer in the gold standard interview blueprints for elite candidates, where you will learn on the skills that you need to have so that you become the best candidate when you're being interviewed. Please get in touch with Richard so that you can learn on how to master that interview. In fact, there are people who have been in the work environment, they have never done interviews, and there are redundancies, there are terminations. Probably your boss may not like you and you want to change your environment. Always have those interview skills with you. Then we have another event that one happened and it was nice. We learned a lot of things. If you missed it, then you have to look for the person who attended. Then we have Grace. I don't know if this has happened. No, it hasn't. From the 20th of this month to 22nd November, Kigali is another town where there is a showdown. Our own ED will be there. Our own moderator of choice will be moderating at that event of Africa Human Resource Summit. Please make a point of attending Africa Human Resource Summit in Kigali from the 20th to the 22nd of this month. Learn to go outside so that you can learn different experiences. Thank you so much for having listened to me in terms of who are the sponsors of our conversation. Tonight, we have none other than Grace Nzula. Grace Nzula is a human resource consultant, a human resource trainer. She trains a lot of things. She's the lead at Atara Solutions, getting it right every single moment that you want human resource solutions under one roof. Grace Nzula of Atara Solution is the person to talk to. She's also into team building. And of course, as she likes saying, and it is true, she's paid to talk. But tonight we are not going to pay you to talk. We are going to listen to you tell us on how we should have those cutting edge skills that are not really HR based. How do we become those extra HR people so that we can become valuable to our organization? If I have not introduced you fully, please go ahead and add something. Welcome, Grace Nzula. Tell us, what are these skills that we need? We know you are widely traveled, so you have gathered a lot of insights, a lot of perspectives on what we should do to rethink, re-engineer HR so that we become valuable at the place where the cake is being cut. You're welcome.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you very much. I am excited to be on this other side of this conversation. And it's amazing to just be able to share from experiences and from what I have picked along the way on what else should HR do. Of course, this was it has been triggered by a number of things. I get a lot of questions from people who are in campus, people who are also working. They just want to do better, and especially when you get into higher levels. But I just want to ask, you can engage on the chat. How many years experience do you have as a HR professional? I just want to see and measure the people in the room. How many years experience do you have in HR? How many years experience do you have in HR? Kindly let's engage on the chat. How many years experience do you have in HR? Yes. Okay, 10 years, 20 years. Keep them coming. 6 years, 4 years, 12 years, 2 years, 3 years, 18 years, 10, 3, 15, 14. All right, 3, 31. Okay. Herbert Zake, I see you. We are about to celebrate your Jubilee years of experience, and I'm fortunate enough to tap into your expertise in our partnership. Cindy is a student. All right. 2 years. Okay. All right, so that is important so that I can know to what extent to go. So I'm going to share a few things, and allow me to just introduce this conversation from a point of just reminding you that when we talk about having diverse skills, we include you having polished your competence as a HR professional. I don't think we are negating the fact that you ought to actually understand HR and have HR practice at your fingertips. I think the first thing that we need to understand is to build our competence as HR professional, so that as you call yourself a HR professional, what else are you talking about? Or rather, do you know what you're talking about? When are you a HR practitioner or a HR professional? Which is which? And then once you have answered that question, the other question would be, are you very competent in your area of expertise? So before you even start building on the other expertise that you probably have, are you able to actually have competence in the HR profession? So that's one of the things that we really need to answer, or get probably ourselves into motion. So some of the things that, like the technical bits about HR, is you need to understand some compliance issues. Like a client or sorry, your employer will ask you to give them advice on what they're supposed to on how they're supposed to handle compliance issues. And by compliance, I don't just mean compliance with the Employment Act. I mean compliance with what do we call it? Work Injury Benefits Act. I mean compliance in terms of yeah, I mean National Hospital Insurance Fund. I don't know how they call it in Uganda. When you get to become competent in terms of compliance, you ought to understand Safety and Health Act. You need to understand all the matters that come around with being in compliance. You also need to understand things to do with talent. How are you managing your talent? How are you bringing people on board? How are you managing them while they exist together? How are you separating with them? And how are you also or rather growing them or building them or developing them? Now, those are just the basic skills that you need to have when you call yourself a HR professional. Those are some of the things that you need to build up on. Now, currently, or as you move into HR, there are things that you really cannot do without. The first thing that you actually need to do, and I would like to ask you that you engage on the chat. First thing that I wish to hear from you, what does a leader do? What else does a leader do? Let's engage on the chat. What are some of the things a leader does? Let me know on the chat. What does a leader do? Or what are the things that is required of a leader? I know we have learned this when we are doing your undergraduate, when you're doing your diplomas. There's always what is a manager or a leader meant to do. So I want to hear it from you. What are some of these things? What are some of the things that a leader does? A leader builds a team, inspires, coaches, motivates, makes decisions, influence others to do the right thing, inspire others to achieve a common goal, listen, solve, consult, organize, lead. A leader influences, all right, inspires, mentors, supports, staffing, Okay, new ideas, sets direction for the team, empathizes, nurtures. Excellent. You guys have excellent ideas this evening. So one of the things that you need to equip yourself with, besides just being a HR practitioner, is building your leadership skills. And I have intentionally decided to start with leadership because everything starts and stops with leadership. So a leader is expected to give direction. A leader is expected to coordinate. A leader is expected to listen. A leader is expected to communicate. A leader is expected to solve problems. A leader is expected to empower. All the things that you have shared there. As a HR practitioner, one of the skills that you really need to build upon is your leadership skills. So what are you signing up on when it comes to leadership? What are the skills you're seeking to build? Because leadership is a doing word, and leadership skills you build over a period of time. So are you investing in your leadership skills? Are you just being a HR professional who cannot give direction? If your superior is not there or your supervisor is not there, then you're the HR that says, let me get back. Then not let me get back. I have had experiences with some HR professionals. You ask them to do something and then they get stuck. And then they're like, or they don't even get stuck. They just don't want to think beyond. And they're like, please let me know what to do. And you're like, what are you supposed to do in that situation? They actually don't know what to do and they're not willing to try. So one of the skills that you really need to invest in is your leadership skills. So, and some of the things that you also need to take into account when it comes to leadership skills is you have to have solutions. You have to provide solutions. Every time you go to your supervisor or you go to your staff members or you go to the board, one of the things that is expected of you is to provide solutions. So how do you train yourself? How do you train your mind? How do you train the way you think? How do you train your mindset to be able to have solutions, to be solutions oriented? To quit from seeing problems and how this is not working to figuring out how does this work and how does it work better. All right. The other thing that you need to build upon as a leader is you need to have the ability to think deeply, the ability to process thoughts, the ability to not just see things at face value, but also go deeper and unpack situations, unpack people, unpack issues that you face. It is important that as a leader, you be able to think beyond what the teachers used to call us. Think beyond your nose. Go deeper into thinking, right? That is part of your leadership expertise. And then the other thing that you need to build upon is clarity. Once you think deeply, there is a likelihood that you will also get clarity. And part of how you even learn to think deeply is by exercising, putting it into practice, meditating, having clarity of thoughts, right? You need to create a skill in yourself that you can actually build upon so that then you have, you understand how to give direction. You understand how to give, to communicate. You understand what direction to give, because being a leader is also showing up even when you don't feel like. So don't be part of the people who say, I don't feel like going to work today, and then I'm not coming. Or you say that I am working from home today, I am just waiting for you to give me instructions on what to do. My good friend, that is how we are losing our voices in the room. Because if you're a HR professional and everyone has to tell you what to do, then what business are you there? What are you doing? All right. Now, the other thing that we need to build upon, the other skill that we need to build upon is becoming a change agent. Now, we are going through economic downtimes. We are going through change. And this is global. Every time, there's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of change that is happening. In Kenya, for example, we are dealing with legislation changes. In Uganda, you're experiencing changes in your economy as well. In Tanzania, in Rwanda, and in all the other countries represented here. We just come from an elections in the US. You know, they are also experiencing a change. So you as a HR professional, are you equipped enough to be a change agent? All right. A change agent, not just in compliance, not just in writing show causes, not just in hosting them, what do we call them? Disciplinary hearings. Are you being able to see change? And are you able to actually think through and come up with solutions and innovate in those times? So, what are some of the skills that you need to build yourself as a change agent? The first thing that you need to be very good at is communication. You need to build your communication skills. Communication has the entire, or rather, communication has three aspects, both non-verbal and verbal. Then you also need to build your written, or rather not written, your ability to listen. I am telling you, a lot of us are so good at saying. In fact, the most number of people I have met are not without the ability to listen are HR professionals. We are so used to saying, we are so used to giving instructions that sometimes we really are not good at hearing. And I'm not just talking about hearing what I'm saying. I'm also talking about being able to hear what I am not saying. You know, when you're becoming a coach, one of the things that you're taught to do is not to take what I am saying for the answer. It is for you to hear and get to the bottom of it. And by getting to the bottom of it is just hearing, learning to listen and hear what I am not telling you. That I wanted to tell you, but I'm not able to articulate what I'm telling you, right? And we need to really work on our hearing. In fact, one of the things that we want to do in 2025 as Atara is partner with an institution that offers listening skills. Because I believe if we listened more, if we became better at listening, without judgment, without offense, then I can tell you that we will build a team that is actually able to execute the business strategy as it is required. So one of the things that you need to invest in, please, if you cannot speak publicly, it's time. Your communication skills, it is being able to articulate issues. It's being able to articulate issues in a way that you can be understood. So are you communicating to your team members? Are you communicating to your directors? Are you able to articulate issues in a language that they understand? Right? And I keep saying, communication is not one cloth fit all. You need to understand, how does your employer communicate? How does your supervisor communicate? And then you need to learn how to speak their language, because that language that they speak is what gets you positions. It's what gets you promotions. It's what gets you a seat on the table without you becoming the meal. We do not want to have you for dinner. So you earn the seat at the table and you contribute, because that seat, or you have even created the table yourself. Okay? So you need to be very good at communication. Please work on your communication skills, my good people. The other thing that you need to work on is your negotiation skills. Unfortunately, because we are so used to just saying we have a budget in mind, and the only negotiation we are doing is when it comes to money. You also need to be able to negotiate your way into some of these roles. You ought to negotiate yourself when city council comes to you. You need to be able to negotiate. You need to be able to negotiate with those people you want to fire so that they don't take you to the labor office. You need to be able to negotiate with your superiors so that you can sell the HR agenda. You will only sell the HR agenda to your superiors by being able to communicate very well and also negotiate your way, because the board will always tell you we don't have a budget. But are you going to be told that we don't have a budget and you say, okay, let's try again next year? My friend, power is never given, power is taken. So you need to be able to articulate issues. You need to be able to negotiate your way into getting that HR agenda being pushed, because you're the person who owns the HR agenda, or rather the people agenda. Then you need to also, when you're being a change agent, the other skill that you need to build upon is being firm and respectful. You need to be able to know these are the boundaries and be able to communicate those boundaries. And again, you need to also be in a position to communicate and say, you know what, this is the way we are going. in a very respectful way. This we are not doing in a very respectful way, because when it comes to change, I'm telling you, people will push your buttons. People will push your boundaries. People will get on your nerves. So as a change agent, you really, really need to work on being firm. Sometimes, you're told it's a no, and then you just walk away. You need to learn how salespeople bounce back from rejection. When next time you come up with a team or rather a sales training for your sales team about handling rejection, you also need to sit in that class, so that you can be able to learn what happens. How do you bounce back when the board says no, we are not funding training? How do you bounce back when they say no, we are not hiring anymore? How do you go back and negotiate and say, instead of us firing 100 people, how about we come up with this solution that cuts probably our cost without even reducing this number of people? So you really need to work on being firm and being respectful. And then one of the other things that is very key is building on your emotional intelligence. I cannot overemphasize this. And if you have not gone through emotional intelligence, please join Profiles International. They actually do certification in emotional intelligence. However, if you want to do internal trainings, please call upon myself and Atara Solutions. We'll be able to support you in that. Build on your emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence has the 5 pillars. You need to build on your self-awareness. You need to learn who you are. For you to be able to build on these skills, who are you? All right? Then you also need to learn how to, or rather self-management. You need to understand empathy. You also need to understand self-regulation. You need to understand, if you're going with the GNOS model, emotional reasoning. And most importantly, currently the trend in organization is we are not doing performance management. We are inspiring performance. So how do you inspire performance in your institutions? How do you ensure that people who are working there are inspired to come to work? They are not being forced to come to work. So you need to build upon your emotional intelligence. You need to build your communication skills. You need to become firm and respectful. You also need to be, all these are making you a change agent. You need to be able to be a change agent in your organization, right? The next skill that you need to build upon is becoming a strategic partner. But before we go to strategic partner, you need to understand learning and development. I am telling you the number of HR professionals who cannot design learning, an annual year plan, and that's okay because you can hire us to do that. However, you need to be able to prepare a learning calendar for your organization, right? What are you able to carry out TNA, training needs analysis? Are you able to see through the competencies that your people have, the succession planning that you have? Are you able to see through so that you're able to develop learning structures? You also need to invest in instructional design. Understand how to design training modules for your organization. Understand that even when Grace comes to train your team, you're able to say, Grace, you have delivered. Grace, we can measure this and we know that this has happened. Are you in a position to gauge the consultants you're bringing, whether they have delivered on the training needs that you came up with, right? So you need to invest in design thinking, which is currently a trend. In fact, design thinking says that you come up with employee-centric initiatives. Are you learning how to become a design thinker? Please read more on design thinking. Read more on design thinking, especially when it comes to also L&D. Are you able to bring in solutions that are people-centric? Because we are now talking about people-centered organization. Are you able to design programs that are people-centric, that meet specific needs, not just training? Sometimes people, I get calls, come and train us. And I'm like, why are we training your people? They're like, because this and this. And I'm like, why are we training your people? And HR, some of the HR professionals are not able to answer such questions. So please be in a position. Go and do instructional design. Understand how that works. Then in terms of L&D, you also need to build your coaching and mentorship skills. My good friend Herbert Zake here from Uganda, he's a Gallup certified strengths coach. He has coached over 500 executives. Can you imagine? So imagine having such a skill in your organization. As HRs, you need to be able to coach people. You need to be able to mentor. We have people who are coming from schools. We have people who are getting promoted. Are you able to establish mentorship opportunities for them? Are you able to develop mentors and mentees in the institutions so that then you can build skills for session planning? Are you able to know that this talent that we have is actually growing old? It's becoming extinct. What then do we do? What are the solutions we have as an organization to make sure that we are moving to the next level and are being able to deliver on our business strategy? So learning and development is not a need, a nice to have. It is a must have if you want to take your HR game to the next level. You have to understand, besides just being able to say, okay, fine, these are the training needs we have this year. Can you validate those HR or other training needs? Are you able to design the programs and say, you know what, this year we are training on this? Who are the best people to deliver these trainings? You come up with those. This is the team building we are doing. These are our objectives for this team building. We are going through this change. This is what we want to be trained on. All right. And these are not imaginary things. They're things that you have collected through data. Okay. Now let me move on to the strategic direction. HR professionals, you need to become a strategic partner. So what are some of the skills that you need to become a HR strategic partner? The first thing that you ought to have or got to do is understand your business. You know, sometimes you're in HR and I ask you, how much do you sell this product? And you're like, allow me to contact a salesperson. Why? Why can't you just tell me, you know what? I will tell you how much it costs. What I cannot give you is discounts. I will need the approval of the salespeople to give you discounts. But HR people, please understand your business. Understand your product. Understand what is selling more than what. Understand the profit margins for each. Be in a position when you come to Atara Solutions events, be in a position to sell your organization. Understand don't just understand that this role is carried out by this. That's it. Go out there and try selling. Get to even understand the problems they go into. Become a sales, understand your business, right? Some of you are HR professionals and your neighbors are not even buying from your organization. They don't even know what you do. And your business is struggling to hit targets. In fact, your salespeople are not able to hit targets. Please understand your business. Understand what you're selling. Understand what your organization is doing. Okay? Now, the other thing that you need to understand is, what is your business strategy? Don't finish it at just understanding the business. We are HR consultancy, or what else do you guys do? We do CVs. Or who is here? Let me see who. Lorraine, or I hope it's the Lorraine I know. They're in construction. I ask you, how much are you selling an apartment? You're like, allow me to get you the salesperson. My friend, that is how you're saying that other professionals are always given opportunities and you're not. How will you be given an opportunity? It is not there. You have not earned it. And by the way, like I said, let me repeat again, power is not given, power is taken. And power is taken by being competent. So please understand your business, understand your business strategy. Where are we going? I understand our business is here, but where is our business headed to? Where are we going? What do we want to achieve in the next 1 year? Right? And then be able to innovate. You know, like I said, we are going through change. Are you able to bring up solutions? Are you able to support your people in becoming innovative? Are you able to have those innovation specific days? You know, somebody was saying the other day they have innovation Mondays. Are you able to have such days that you come together and brainstorm and come up with solutions, right? Are you able to actually bring in innovative, not the usual things? Are you tapping into your creativity? My good friend, you have been through the world. You are interacting with people. You actually attend all the conferences. Then you go back and sit the way you came. You need to be able to give innovative ideas. Now, when it comes to innovation also comes technology. You know, the other day, let me tell you something. The other day we were recruiting, or somebody asked me, Grace, I'm looking for HR. And I need 3 HRs. I need HR operations. I need somebody who understands HRIS. And I need somebody who can run with HR strategy. Guess what was the easiest to find? We had like 6 CVs of people who are doing HR strategy. And guess what is the hardest to find? People who understand HRIS. If you're here, Akina Cindy and Co, please, you understand, Gen Zs, you understand technology more than most of us. Please understand it and own that space. That is an instrument that you can use to position yourself going forward. That is an instrument that you can use to actually earn you a table, a seat at the table, right? So don't just do your usual, just learn, what do we call it? HR compliance or just recruitment. Be able to run with that system, troubleshoot. By the time your team is calling the support team, you have already sorted out 2 things, yeah? So please make sure that you're investing in technology. Understand HRIS, understand the digital. Where is organization? How are we digitizing? How are we tapping into AI? Take advantage of the AI now. I am telling you the number of, in fact, the other day, a friend of mine calls and was like, I'm looking for somebody who can do HR analytics and systems. Do you know we only have like 3 or 4 people? And I can tell you, this is Grace Nzula. I know more than, we have like what, 19,000 HR professionals in Kenya. And I would be proudly to say that I know probably 10,000 of them. And I can tell you, we only have like 4 who are very competent in HR analytics and systems. So what are you doing? Why are you not taking that space? All right. And then the other thing that you need to do is be able to understand culture. This is on the strategic partner. Understand your culture. Do you even know that we have 4 different types of culture? Can you go into an organization and by the first week, you already identify what culture that is? And if you want to learn more about culture, our YouTube channel has got 2 or 3 sessions on culture. Are you able to identify a culture of the institution you're in? Are you able to know how do I then plug into this culture? Are we likely to change this culture? Would we want to change this culture? Are you willing to identify that culture, document it, and come up with initiatives that feed and support that culture, because that is the culture that is driving you into the business strategy and to achieving your goals. The other thing that you need to understand is also workforce planning. Do you know the number of employees your business needs now? And do you know the number of employees your business needs in 2025? Are you able to competently, using data, are you able to analyze and say that these are the skills that or rather the number of people that we need come 2025? All right. Some of those skills need to be invested in. Okay. Now, then, when it comes to being a business partner or to being what do I call it? To sitting at the table, what are some of the skills that will earn you the seat in the boardroom? I'm saying this because somebody asked me, Grace, how are you getting these board positions? How is it that you're able to sit in the board? And let me tell you, by the time I was joining the board, I did not even know what other skills I needed to do. I had not had such an opportunity for such a webinar. So I was, one of the things that I learned, and I had to learn very quickly, was to make sure that I understand the books of accounts. And let me tell you, one of the things that woke me up is I went and sat in the board, and 4 months down the line, I am made the chairperson of the finance committee. So now I have stopped being a consumer of finance data. I am now supposed to take it, interpret it, ask the right questions, and be able to give guidance when it comes to finance. Now, HR professionals, you think that you will always go to your meetings with finance people. Imagine you need to actually learn how to interpret a trial balance. You need to be able to interpret a profit and loss account. You need to be able to understand balance sheets. You need to take those audited accounts and be able to query them. And I am telling you, those are skills that you don't leave. You know why finance is you guys keep saying, I see in the groups that, oh, finance is getting these opportunities. They are getting it because they're able to speak the business language. The bottom line of the business, they are able to interpret. That is one of the things that you really, HRs, please, let us stop sitting in the back. Let us take the front seats in understanding the business. And one of the things that we need to invest in is finance for non-finance. You know, the way we are very happy to teach people HR for non-HR. Let us also go and learn finance for non-finance. I am telling you, when I was made that chairperson, I was like, oh my God, what am I supposed to do here? And I went straight to my coach and I was like, I have no idea whether to say yes or not. And the coach was like, what do you mean? That is not a question. We are doing this. And the next day, I got a finance person and we went through finance for non-finance. And I am telling you, you should have seen me chairing that meeting. You would think I'm a finance professional. So my good friends, it is important that you invest in your understanding of financial matters. Imagine being the people, understanding the people agenda, and also being able to interpret the finance bit of things. Can you imagine how good of a conversation you'll be able to have in that boardroom? The other thing that you need is wisdom. Now, when it comes to matters board and leadership, you will need a lot of wisdom because some people can push your what do we call them? They can push you to the wall. You know, I remember the first time I went to chair a board committee meeting. It was like 2 weeks of my appointment, and I was there chairing. And I had sat in other boards, but in private sector, the way boards are run is very different from public sector. And our rules and regulations, I mean, it was easy. And normally I would be in boards as an advisor. So I'd go advise and then leave. But here I am supposed to drive this conversation, and people start even bullying you. So you need to grow thick skin. You need to be able to discern, is this political, or is it somebody lobbying, or is it a genuine ask? Okay, so that is some of the skills that you need to build. Being in the board is beautiful. Then you'll be able to, you know, understand finance, understand the strategy, you know, understand the business so that you can be able to give instruction, understand the role of the internal auditors, external auditors. What are they doing? Not just because you write their JDs, be able to interpret those JDs. Not just because you're the one setting KPIs together with them. In fact, if you're left to set some KPIs, you'll be shocked if their supervisors are not there. But you just need to have an understanding of the finance, the business. Are you able to interpret these balance sheets? Are you able to interpret the profit and loss? Are you able to interpret the risks that comes into finance? Then your governance. Are you investing in governance? Do you understand organization governance? You know, some of you want to sit in boards. I've seen 15 years experience. Are you in a board somewhere? Maybe you're not, or maybe you are. Do you understand governance? How your organization governance works? Or what are the governance structures that are placed in different organizations? Please invest in those skills. You know, some of the things that I have actually learned, I chose to be investing in my skills every year. I pick up a new skill and I learn. All right. So in the last 4 years, I have become a certified coach. I have become a certified mediator. Now, the beauty about becoming a certified mediator, for me, a lying fruit would be, or a low-lying fruit, is being able to mediate disciplinary hearings, a clash between two employees, a clash between management and employees, a clash between a supervisor and their subordinate. Some of those skills come in handy. By the way, I thought I knew how to run those things until I went to class and I thought, oof, that's a new skill. That's an interesting way of doing it. You know, it sort of wakes you up. I have become a certified coach. I now can practice leading through questions, which is one of the things that we really need to learn. We need to learn how to ask the right questions. We need to be able to ask questions so that we can get understanding and also seek to understand the other person. All right. Now, the other skill that I've picked up this year, I have actually been intelligence coach. I'm graduating early in the year. All these things I've done in the last couple of years. Please note, I am a businesswoman. I am very busy running things. I am a parent as well, but I still find time to build my skills. Currently I'm sitting in 2 boards, besides just being a board advisor to other institutions. But I'm telling you, you have 24 hours in a day. Hey, Charles, can we stop fighting? Can we start showing that we have value? And I keep saying, please don't add volume. Don't be part of the statistics that we have 100 employees. HR has 2 employees. Can we become value points? Can we be able to offer our organizations value? Can they be able to say that we are not having that meeting if Grace is not here? There's one of the institutions that we consult for, and I'm telling you, I sit in their ExCom meeting, and until I am available, they are not going to have that meeting. They are going to postpone it until I am available. What value? And I'm not here to I don't want to sound like I'm boasting, but I can tell you, I don't go there to just say, oh yeah, we have written 100 warning letters. We have also done. No, I am also there to question. I'm like, no, we have not done this. This is a risk for us. Are you able to identify HR risks? Are you able to invest? In fact, right now, one of my favorite things is to hang out with my good friend who is a certified risk auditor. I like hanging out with her because she's like, that's a risk. And now she's making me start thinking in a very different way, because I'm like, is that a risk? And how much of a risk is that? I group it into red, yellow, and green in terms of risks. So we need to invest in these skills, my good friends. Then the world has become very competitive. For you to position yourself for growth, for you to position yourself to become better. We went to this organization and we found the HR there. I didn't know her. She happened to know me. So I walk into that restaurant and I find her. It's a hotel. And she comes and says, hi. And I'm like, I'm looking for a conference facility. And she was able to take me around that organization. I am telling you right now, if I hear of a HR position, that lady is in my mind, because she took me around, showed me, and gave me costs of the entire hotel conference facilities. And then we get into the lift and the lights in the lift go off. She knew where the switch was. She went down, bent down, and switched on the lift, and we were able to go down. And I was so impressed. And she was like, you know what, Grace, this so I'm like, give me discounts. And she's like, no, I'm not able to do the discount part. That's the part where salespeople come in, because we need approval for discounts. I was so impressed. I am telling you, the next time I hear somebody is looking for a HR professional, the first thing I'm like, are you looking for a job? Because I know that person, when they go into that institution, they're not just going to be writing about show cause notices. They're not just going to be writing warning letters and doing that as a report. They are also going to be adding value into that business. They're just not going to be a statistic. So my good friends, I hope that you have learned 1 or 2 skills, and maybe Richard, we can open for some questions.
Wow, that is what we call fire, 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 fire. Thank you so much. That was insightful. I love the fact that you mentioned that we should move away from performance appraisal to performance inspiration. Grace, I can see some of my public speaking students here, like Fatma, and shortly before I got into this discussion, we were talking about the role of emotional intelligence, and she might think that we were together. We weren't. Now, the question I want to ask is this, as we wait for the listeners to ask questions. You've mentioned communication, and communication is about active listening. There is the part, if you want to be persuasive, for example, in mediation, you want to negotiate, you need persuasive skills, or you're presenting the HR strategy. You need to be a good presenter. You need to be a good public speaker. Talk about briefly about what should HR people do so that they can become persuasive, so that they can become good in presentation skills. I can see people say, great presentation. How do we become great presenters as a good skill that HR needs?
the first thing that we need to know, first of all, is understand yourself. And I keep challenging the people who come and they're like, Grace, I want to be like you. I want to be able to speak publicly like you. I want to be able to command the room like you. And I'm like, the first thing that you need to do is understand the skills. For some of us, it comes naturally, thank God. But if it doesn't come naturally, you need to be in positions where you are practicing. And I keep saying the easiest part. Yani, HR, you go for family meeting. They ask who will lead us. We need a volunteer to lead us in the word of prayer. And then you're like, you go. My friend, that is how you start practicing public speaking skills. If you ever hear people asking for volunteer to pray, please start. Be the first person to pray. It is the easiest and cheapest way to invest in your public speaking skills or communication skills when it comes to more than one person. So, oh yeah, and please remind me to talk about interpersonal skills. It's very important to know how to relate with people. How are you relating with your colleagues? How are you relating with the people around you, your superiors? How are you managing the relationships in your workplace? It's very, very important. Your social quotient, we call it SQ. So we're talking about IQ, EQ, SQ. Your social quotient is very, very important. But then you need to practice when it comes to communication. You need to also learn, record yourself when you're speaking. Get to understand, am I becoming better? What are some of these skills? Watch YouTube clips that will give you skills on how to actually communicate. So, and then becoming persuasive, learning that a no is not necessarily a no. Learning to package your information so that it is received in the way it was intended to. So some of these things take practice, but it is a great way to start. So next time they're asking for someone to pray, please raise your hand. It starts by raising your hand. That is even how you start, what do we call it? Building on your leadership skills, because you keep volunteering, you keep supporting others, right? And that way, then you start building on that skill. In terms of persuasion, be in a position where your skills are needed. Then clap for yourself every time you realize, oh, I did well. And then allow yourself to learn without judgment. Every time you fail, learn from your mistakes. Don't beat yourself up and get stuck there. Richard.
Thank you very much, Grace. And I can see, if you notice, some organizations are adding, besides profit and people, they are uploading the concept of purpose. Why should the HR people be so good at creating purpose?
One of the trends that we have in our workplaces right now is being able to create meaningful work. So first of all, you need to understand, what is this one thing? You need to identify your own purpose first. What is this thing that you can do without being paid and you would still enjoy? I thought one of the skills that I had was cooking. I was talking about this in the morning when I was talking to entrepreneurs. And I thought one of the skills that I could monetize was cooking pork. And I'm telling you, my friend, I was very good at it. I was so good at cooking pork. You eat my pork, you would enjoy. Hey, I'm telling you, finger licking is understatement. Then I thought, oh, everyone loves this pork and I cook it, so I might as well monetize it. I did that for 6 months. I got so tired. I was so done. I did not want to cook ever again, that pork. So I realized that is not my purpose. That is something that I enjoy to do once in a while, but that's not my purpose. Until I discovered learning and development, it's a purpose I have. So identify what is that thing that you can actually do that gives you peace. And you can keep doing it over and over again, and it still gives you peace, right? Then the other thing that you need to do is ask your people. Get to identify, support your people in discovering their purpose. Support them in nurturing talent. One of the things that we used to do in my former employer's place is we used to have talent days. One of our staff members used to be a musician, so we'd let him entertain us. One of the other guys was a gifted pastor. We'll allow him to share the word. One of the other people were very good at, what do we call it? Zumba, or rather gymnastics, or gym instructions, all those things, yeah? So we'd allow them on that day that we are opening with some gym stretches and all that. We create an opportunity where people are actually bringing out their talent. They are able to showcase who they are besides work. So create a culture or an opportunity that allows people to explore, right? And you do this, you can even support them whenever they are going to play the keyboard and you think that you have an event in your workplace and you need somebody to play keyboard. Give the opportunity to your staff members. Create a culture where people are willing to come and tell you, by the way, I'm so good at this. Or the neighbor is like, this guy is so talented in this, right? Because that way you support them in having purpose. And then you're able to create meaningful work. Somebody gets to enjoy what they are doing. Somebody gets to enjoy not just working for the money, but also working because they love their job. Richard.
Thank you very much, Grace. There's a question by Immaculate Kemoy. Where did you learn your mediation skills? She has also said that is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful presentation. Where did you learn your mediation skills?
So I learned from Suluhu Mediation, Suluhu Mediation College. They call themselves Suluhu. I can give contacts, Immaculate, if you get in touch with me.
Very good. There is Violet Smew. It is indeed a wake-up call. Thanks, Grace. Can you please send us recordings that will be available? Wow, today Grace is talking to me directly and not going through the corners. That is Helen Muranga. That is Lilian Karongo. Great presentation. Thanks, great. You're the best. Eric Malenya, very good presentation. Then we have Angeline Onyango, a wonderful presentation. Today people have not written questions. There's somebody else who's saying, Varali Ochieng, Grace is addressing me directly. Where I have my good friend Mwenda. He's saying, well done, Grace. I liked delivery and mastery. Then there is Mweni. Mweni is saying it can be done better. Then there is Sheila, powerful. Then there is CHRP, Sarah Minor. I'm learning a lot, Grace, from you today. As you prepare for your parting shot, anybody who has a question, because nobody, let me see this question. That is John Mwanzia. Working with SMEs, you might find that the owner sits as the sole decision maker in all matters, and this might hinder some change management. So how do we deal with change resistance, or where people don't embrace change, even if you are well-versed in change agency?
All right. So when it comes to change management, like I said, understand your boss first. Okay. You know, when one of the skills that I have learned to do is allowing people to make decisions, but I am the one directing that decision. I don't know whether you understand what I'm talking about. For example, John says that some of the people who, the owner is the one who makes the decision, right? If you know that your director is the one who is the final decision maker and they want to make the decision, what you need to do is package your information and allow them to make the decision that you want. Lead them into making the decision that you want. And you see, most leaders will only make decisions based on information given. So you instead of going to them directly and saying, I want this done, you say, here is the information, this is what we have, these are what we are looking at, this is blah, 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 blah. And then make sure the information that you have packaged, they will give you the decision that you're looking for. Because one, you're speaking their language, two, you know their expectation, three, you know their personality. So instead of you wanting to take charge of this decision, give information that directs them to make the decision that you want. I have, honestly, if you learn that skill, you'll have a lot of fun. Because sometimes what we want is to be in power and be in control. Please let go. Let go of the stoicism syndrome. Let go. You don't have to take control. But you can give, because these lead directors, I tell you, I'm a director personally. And unless I'm given information, I make decisions based on the information I have received. So for you, because you know you're dealing with change, you know that you want some decisions made. Make sure that you give information that will direct that decision to be made the way you want it made. That is one way we call when you're managing up. So let go of the control, let go of the wanting to make decisions, allow them to make the decision, but give them valuable information so that they can start trusting that you're giving them information that is best for their organization. Richard, I've also seen something from Stella Nyagol, who is saying that she's very good with HR analytics, but that does not get an opportunity. Volunteer in other places as well. I've seen Moya has told you, please link up with Nelson. Most of us, when you're going to look for HR analytics people, the first phone call will be to Nelson. Please link up with Nelson. Let him help you package yourself so that whenever there are opportunities for that, he also runs a mentorship class. Whenever the opportunities for such, then you're able to tap into that, and then he'll be able to say, you know what, there's Nelson, I'm looking for an employee who understands HR analytics or HRIS. He'll be able to be like, you know what, Stella is here. So invest in your networking as well. Allow people to know that you're very good at it. Demonstrate how good you are. Use the skill that you have, not necessarily to be placed in that. I find HR people telling me, I'm very good with systems, but I've not been given an opportunity to take the systems. Don't wait for the opportunity. Those things are always breaking every day. Go and troubleshoot. Let them ask who fixed it, and then they will point at you on the third time. So slowly you get there. Like we say, Rome was not built in a day. So build your skills as you go, network, and be able to find opportunities, small opportunities, to showcase what else you can do besides what you have learned. Richard?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Grace. There is a question by Zachary Gashuru. He has said that is a good presentation, and he says that, well, it is good that you have said very good things, but where do I start to be good? Where do I start? At what point do I start? It is easier to say it, but how do I get into that place where I am exceptional?
I aspire to be that great HR. It is amazing to want to be a great HR. One thing is you need to be very competent. Number two, you need to be very confident. You need to be able to give direction and don't look like you're doubting the directions you're giving. You need to be very confident about the direction you're giving. All right. And you better pray it's the right one. Okay. So the first thing you said, where do I start? The first thing that you need to do is build on your competence. Build your competence. What are the things that we've talked about? We've talked about understanding the HR itself, technical HR. Understand the technical HR bits. Understand your compliance. Understand recruitment. Understand employee engagement. Understand the core HR. Understand the core. Then start building these other competencies that we are talking about. Build your communication skills. Build your decision-making skills. Build your problem-solving skills. Give your ability to give instruction. Build your coaching skills. Build your mediation skills. Build your financial skills. That way, slowly you build into your skill. And I met people I was with when I was starting out HR, and they're like, Grace, I cannot believe you have grown this much. And I can tell you, I've been in HR for 14 years. So it has not been one day. It has been over a period of time. And the ability of kujituma, the ability to be out there, the ability to want to learn, the ability to even hang out with people who are in those learning opportunities. Every time I used to sit with people in boards, I'll be like, I want to be part of this. I don't want to come in as an advisor. I want to be able to partake of these board decisions. And I would take myself out there and want to be part of it. And I'm telling you, I currently am able to now be able to build my skills around governance, be able to build my skills about questioning, being able to understand what exactly am I dealing with, right? So it starts by knowing where you want, start by building your competencies, start by practicing all the skills that you're learning, and build much more than you know. Seek to learn. Seek to learn. Don't tell me that your company does not have budgets for learning. We are here giving free trainings every Tuesday. Pay for yourself. I've met people in HR conferences. They have paid for themselves. I'm off to Rwanda tomorrow morning. I am not being sponsored. Because you need to learn. You need to be in rooms that people who are thinking wider than you. All right? Richard?
Thank you, Grace. There is this, I'm sure you've heard, and most of the people I'm sure have heard of this frog that stayed in very warm water that was boiling slowly until the frog was cooked. there is this question of comfort zone. How do you know that you are in a comfort zone as a HR so that you can seek better skills, so that you can seek valuable skills? How do you get to feel? How do you get to notice that indeed you've become not so useful because you are in a comfort zone?
When you start sleeping like a baby every night. When nothing is challenging you, when you feel like you're the pro in that place, then it's time to move. Yeah. Yeah. When you can do everything in your sleep. Yeah.
Then there is Simon from TZ. Grace, how do you deal with people owning decisions? They don't want to delegate for empowering. So there are questions, I think there are two questions there: owning decisions and also the people who have a problem in delegating. Then the same Frank as how do we deal with supervisors who believe in both decisions and instructions and not otherwise, whether they are impactful or not? Which means that even if the boss gives instructions and the decision is, or the instructions are not quite impactful, they go ahead and implement. How do we deal with this?
I think the first thing that we need to know is when you are employed and you answer to someone, the buck does not stop with you. I think you need to be very clear about that. The buck does not stop with you. So you need to know when to push for decisions and when to let other people make decisions. You also need to let your boss shine. You need, even if you're the one who came up with that initiative, allow them to own it. If they're not willing to recognize you as part of what made that decision, please allow them to shine. Your turn will come. Let them, because you're there to support this person you call boss. I'm not saying you bootlick. I'm just saying allow them to boast with your idea, because it means they are listening to you. They don't have to give you recognition for it. Whenever you hear them talk about, know that you impacted them, because they'll own that decision like it's theirs. So allow them to own those decisions, even if you're the one who contributed 100% to it. Even if it's one of the things that you supported, allow them to shine with it. One day it will be your turn to be able to be listened to. One thing that you need to tell yourself, oh, he actually took my idea seriously. That is, you clap for yourself in the washroom and then come back and I say that the boss, you are very good at it, and applaud them for owning your decision. Don't remind them that they took your decision. Applaud them because they have given the right direction. All right. People who don't know how to delegate, it's a problem. Maybe you need to train them on delegation. And unfortunately, some people suffer from control. So know when to plug in. If you can identify that this person is like this, then ask yourself, how else can I plug in this? Instead of seeing that as a problem, what are you able to change? What are you able to control from your end, right? And then the supervisor who believes that the boss's decisions, my friend, when the boss decides, yours is only an opinion, eh? It is not a decision. Give your opinion, let them decide. Give your opinion, let them decide, unless you have been given room to make decisions. Give your opinion. If they say, we are firing that person, and you have given your opinion and said, no, we are firing them, yes, but allow us to follow due process, and they still insist, please go and write an email and say, I acknowledge that from the meeting we have had, you have said that we fire this person. This is noted for action. And then you go ahead and implement that decision. Because remember what we said, a leader's role is to give direction. So if your superior is giving you direction and you do not agree with it, yours is to give an opinion. If they are still stuck on that, please go ahead. I am telling you, I was told to fire someone a while back. And I knew that that was the wrong thing to do. And I tried to share my opinion and I was shut down. You know what I did? I went and wrote that letter and put that boss's name there to sign. And was like, why am I signing a show cause notice? I said, because I do not agree with you. So allow us to do this your way. And he told me, take that letter and go away with it. Sometimes you really don't have to fight it. Sometimes you need to know, this is what I am dealing with, and this is how I can approach it, so that then you reduce the conflict in your workplaces. All right. Yeah. So there's a question on the chat. Where is the question? I don't know that you've seen it, Nani, Richard. There's somebody who is saying, Eric Malenya. As an HR, you might want to learn about other departments' operations, but other managers may feel like you're encroaching their area of operation. How can you handle this without bringing issues with other managers? My good friends, you have to have wisdom. If your managers are protective of their roles, please don't go and say, please teach me how to do this. They will not teach you. Learn to ask the right questions. Whenever you're in a meeting, in a management meeting, ask your finance person, so what does this mean? Let them interpret that for you. That way you start learning slowly by slowly. The other thing that you need to do is find separate ways of learning it. You don't have to learn it from your own institution. Find other ways to learn about it. You know, you're also the one in charge of appraisals. So when you're appraising them, ask the right questions. You're also learning through that process. In fact, if there's somebody who is in a position to learn his HR without even going into trouble with them, during appraisals, you ask the right questions, you will learn. Next time you will do better. Whenever you go into management meeting, ask questions. Sometimes you don't even need to go to the managers. Sometimes even just ask the question to the assistant. Find ways to learn without interfering a lot with people's jobs. And that way, by asking the right, I'm telling you, learn to ask questions so that people don't feel like you're fighting them, but they feel like you're just trying to understand what they do better. And that way you need a lot of wisdom and also being humble. Yeah. And then how do you handle unhealthy competition from fellow team HR to a point of downgrading your views and opinions? Now, when you realize that you're dealing with unhealthy competition, you need to be very wise about what you're showcasing. Tungarie huku nje, but when you get there, learn how to deal with those people who feel like you're competing with them, because they're going to zima your candle. They're going to put out your candle as soon as you light it. I'm not saying you really look for, you do what you are meant to do there, but look for other opportunities to actually showcase your skills, because if these people are always looking for opportunities to downgrade you, just know that they will never allow you to grow. But I'm telling you, that day they're absent. That day they have taken leave. Please shine. Please shine that day that they are not present. Let them come and say unajipendekeza when they are not in. That's okay. Because they are not in. When they are not in, you own the office. So look for opportunities that present themselves, and also be patient with yourself. Be patient to learn. When you go into a room, learn and say, okay, this one is looking at me as competition. This one is looking at me as I know too much. This one is, so how can I deal with it? You realize that's insecurity. You realize the other one is, they're thinking you're taking their jobs. The other one is thinking, be able to analyze these situations, and then you handle each person individually. This is insecurity. Okay, so how do I help them build their own competence? Hey, this one is looking at me at competition. Why? Because they think I'm taking their jobs. Why do they think I'm taking their jobs? Because they have been here. They do not have the skills that you have. Okay. What are the opportunities for me to teach them the skills that I have? Those are some of the things you look at, so that you start playing together as a team. So that instead of them looking at you as competition, they see you as an ally. They see you as a collaborator. Yes. But sometimes it's hard and very demoralizing to follow a wrong directive from your seniors, even if you're not part of the decision making. I know it is. But don't take it to heart. My friend, life is hard. Life is very hard. Don't take those things to heart. They make the wrong decisions. You've given an opinion. They're not hearing you. You have done your part. Let it go. Let it go. It's okay to feel bad, but don't let it put you down. Richard?
Well done, well done, well done, well done. Thank you so much for those very incisive points that will elevate the game of HR professionals. I can see Wafula is saying, Grace Braffel, you are gifted and a gift to us all, especially to me. We have Kendi Munywa. Thank you, my moderator of choice, for saying it as it is. Then there is Kendi again, who's saying personal growth is personal. Then there is Anne Waweru. Next time, please guide us on how to inspire performance. It looks like we have a topic for our next discussion. Then, yes. Those ones you have mentioned. Perfect presentation by Dr. Abdul Karim Abdo. Thank you so much for finding time to come. Wow, that is Edward Wangeshi. Then we have Catherine Anaya. Great presentation, Grace. So, Grace, you've done an amazing job. Now, what is your parting shot to the HR professionals who are listening to you across East Africa?
Okay. I think my parting shot is build your competencies. Don't just focus on being called a HR. Be able to be a HR who adds value. Be able to be a HR who is solutions oriented, support the business growth, not just the HR department and the people. Be a HR who is able to report much more than how many warning letters you give. Be able to report much more than the number of hours it took for you to fill a position. That way, then we stand a chance to be better human resources people and be able to drive the people agenda in the organization. And like Paul Kasim was challenging us the other day, why is a business having a business strategy? They should have a people strategy. And the people strategy should be owned by HR. So before your business goes out to do your business strategy, and by the way, you need to go into those business strategy meetings. As your business develops their business strategy, one of the major elements there should be the people strategy, and HR should be on those meetings to be able to create the people agenda in that strategy. Thank you, Richard.
Thank you very much, Grace, for finding time to come and share insights that will activate our abilities to perform at the highest level. Grace Nzula is a HR consultant, the team lead of Atara Solutions, getting it right every other single moment as it relates to business and career. Don't miss to be here every Tuesday so that you can continuously learn and unlearn some of the things that will make you a better human resource practitioner. Thank you so much, Grace. Thank you, listeners. My name is Richard J. Magoma. I train in public speaking, interview preparation, and I also moderate at events like Grace. I'm learning to be paid to speak like Grace. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a wonderful discussion. Let us meet, I think, the final episode, Grace, or the second last next week.
The last one, next week.
The last one, next week. Please be here. Also recommend, also share the flyer once you get it, wherever you are in East Africa, in Africa, wherever you are, please share that Atara Solutions flyer. We come and learn from different people. It has been delightful, ladies and gentlemen. Good night and God bless.
Thank you very much, Richard, and thank you all.
to the moon and let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. In other